sold the horse for 900,000, but
And
they seem
stayed
to have
in.
bought back in.
Yeah.
So no, I picked the horse thinking it would have more speed as well. And I don't know anything about Limes Don't Lie specifically. All I know is that Chad Brown has told me a few times that he really likes his McKenzie's. We saw that horse win the other day, but I also
Chance
think
Patrick, yeah.
that it's worth noting, and this is the last thing I'm ever going to do is predict a bias. I'm sure some nitwit on Twitter will say I'm doing that because it's Twitter. When we have had inside tracks, they have come the days after wet tracks.
Yeah.
And we saw one here on Thursday after we
Yep.
had a wet track on Wednesday. So keep an eye on it. And as you say, Limes Don't Lie, winter night's going to break. First class lady Steve Aspen, these horses just have speed.
They always do.
They seem to.
They really do. And getting back to that bias thing, that's typical with all of our tracks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's just something
here.
that
Yep.
happens because you're sealing it, you're sealing it, you're sealing it. It gets really tight on the inside. And when you open back up, it's still tight down there, and horses enjoy running on the inside.
And the 6 has some pedigree. Both the dam and the second dam were pretty fast. I did want to show the replay for the workout for Ivory and Ebony.
Okay.
I don't know, Mag. I thought this was a fairly solid workout. How'd you feel about this one?
Well, okay. Staying on her inside lead throughout here, but didn't look as though she was going that fast. So therefore, that equates to her covering a good bit of ground. And she does look as though she's a big type of filly. I guess there just wasn't much pedigree to kind of lean into with her selling for 105,000. I think solely for that workout. You mentioned quiet side, the second dam Spacey Tracy, and she has thrown nothing but runners. And the dam of this one, Benner Island, she was able to win first time out too.
All right, see what happens. Race number 1. Always looking forward to seeing the 2-year-olds, the fillies, running on Sundays. The next race is next in the Birdstone, and the one thing about next, and obviously he really is going to be 1-9. He could well pay 210 in this race. We'll take a look at his effort in the Brooklyn, and I admire the 3 people who are going to sign up to run behind him. And no race is a fait accompli. No horse has to absolutely win. But I'll tell you something about this horse. Appreciate this horse. I understand this is not going to be one of the world's great betting races. He is an unusual horse, a dirt horse that goes a distance of ground, that's able to run faster in successive furlongs. You won't see too many horses like this in your entire lifetime. And appreciate next today. Really take a look at him, see him in the paddock, watch him live. He's just the coolest horse.
I'm pulling
You're like Ernie.
Munich.
It is Ernie.
Goosebumps, because this horse, too, has just so much personality. He will stand. I invite everyone to come over with their phones, their cameras, because he will stand and pose for pictures. And his groom is really cool and totally obliges. He'll stand there with him, and he'll just look up, be like, yeah, I'm the man.
He is the man.
Cool
And
horse.
whether or not we see him in the Jockey Club Gold Cup at the end of the meet, we don't know. I would love to, but I don't. The connections have done everything right with him. I will never criticize them for a race they don't opt to run in. I appreciate the races they do, and they do right by their horse, and he does right by them.
Absolutely.
And I know he's a huge favorite, but yeah, I'm with you. He's a horse that you really have to appreciate because you don't get horses like this.
No. I mean, he's just so exciting. I'm so excited to see him, And a former claimer, and I always have such an appreciation for horses like that, and a really good job by Doug McCowan and his team to figure out this is what this horse wants to do. Juan Machado is actually, gotten along with him, too. He's been able to rate in some of his races. I don't know if he necessarily has to do that today in this short field, but he's just so fun.
I thank God that Kate Hemlopen got rained off the turf.
Yeah.
Because that's the race that got him. I mean, he did understand he was a router, and he can run on the turf, too.
Yep.
I'd consider him a sword dancer, frankly.
Right.
But I just think he's the neatest. So
he
looking
totally
forward to that. A couple of scratches in race number 3. I don't think they're going to affect the pace that much. And I imagine Gun Maestro's going to go from the inside and take the charge on the outside, probably going as well. You have taken the 2 for our friend Tom Amos, and Tom needs a winner. Tom needs a winner.
I've taken
get
2 Tom Amos horses, so sorry, Tom, on this card.
Believe me, you're not the problem.
Anyway, second off the claim here. I know that is a 16 claimer, but that was a good 16 claimer.
I agree with that.
Filled with horses that had so much back class. And I thought he ran very well. He had trouble. He was kind of caught in a blind switch at the quarter pole. He tried to go inside, then he had to steady back out of it. I think, in 2, he's a horse that has enough speed to keep himself close. He's not going to let those 2 front runners get away from him, and he's going to be the first one to pounce in here. I took
No, he should be sitting in the pocket trip behind the 1 and 7. So if the rail is good,
Yep.
he should at least be in position to take advantage of it. So I don't have a big argument with him. I think, like you, Colloquy is just sort of a logical player in this race.
He is.
I'm going
My
to take.
problem, though, with Call is
Go
that
ahead.
he's been having trouble getting out of the gate. And that wasn't an issue, going back to, like, this time last year when he was in very good form. And I'm not saying his form is completely dissipated because it hasn't, but he's done silly things at the break, leaping up, kind of breaking
I agree.
awkwardly. And that's put him further back than what he had been when
I thought he broke okay last time, though,
he
didn't
broke okay, but he just didn't have much foot to keep himself in contention. It was a fairly quick pace.
It was a tough race. Nobody
and it
gained
was,
any
and
ground. He
Big
was wide on the first
literally.
turn.
Right.
And now he's scratching the 6th. And I know he has no speed. And if it's a big inside track, he's going to have a problem in this race because he likes to run wide. So Flavia maybe can get him the fence, but he is a horse that's done his best running in the stretch. I got an affinity for this horse. I don't think he ran that badly last time. I'm going to take him on
Boss?
top. Yeah.
No, he didn't. He
I
was
don't think he ran that
against
badly
the
considering
flow.
the
He was against the flow of the
dynamics
track.
of the race, right?
The
And-
pace just totally held together,
Yep.
and he was way out the back, caught wide on the first turn. No, I can
I thought the
see
pace
him
was
running.
honest here, so
He
I'd take
draws
him in here.
outside again.
Yes, he does.
It's annoying.
But with the scratches, it's only 6 horses as
True.
opposed to 9 last
Yep.
time. And hopefully he can sort of drop back and get his position. And Flavian's pretty
Yeah.
good. I guess Irad is up by 1 now over Flavian. Love
Yep.
the battle.
I love the battle.
I was talking to Irad a bit about
I don't want a next performance by Irad. I don't. I want.
I think it's great. I was
Sunday
talking to
silence,
Irad
easy
about the
goes it,
DQ a
goer.
little bit. Either yesterday. When was the DQ? Thursday or Friday? Who can remember? It was the day after the DQ. I was after the. I was talking to him after the last race on Friday.
Okay.
And he was saying, he's saying how he and Flavian were talking about it on the way back to the room, and that they basically went for the spot simultaneously. And Irad didn't realize that Flavian was
Yeah.
kind of in there as much. And we were just talking
it
about the
wasn't. I
competitive
don't
nature.
think it was malicious by any
Oh,
means.
no, and that's something
No.
I think it's important. And I
Yeah.
was saying to Irad, we're happy to call Irad out for being over aggressive, and he's an
He's
aggressive
been
rider, and it
so
works.
much better lately.
I agree.
He's just possessed so much more finesse rather than aggression in his riding.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Aggressive when it matters, but not
Yeah.
in a way where he's and a
Exactly.
rider that can intimidate while following the rules is
Yep.
doing a good job. Race
Yep.
number 4, and we'll take a look at Kick-a-Buck's debut at Gulfstream. And I'm not going to argue in race number 4 that Kick-a-Buck is the horse to beat, because he is the horse to beat. I don't have a big problem with that, but I didn't even think this effort was that good.
None of them have been that good.
Chad Brown is running where he sort of belongs. We pointed out the other day, though one of them did win, that overall Chad Brown's numbers, maiden special, maiden claim, and the turf routes are not that good.
They're not.
And he's okay. He might have found his friends today, but I don't need to take him at 6 or 7 to 5 in here.
Oh, you and me both. There's some interesting horses in here that we've seen you couldn't ask for a better trip than what he got last time.
I agree, and he just
And he
didn't
just
do any
didn't
running at
show up
all.
at all.
Better horses. They were better horses, and he may win here, but you've
At
got
a
him
short
4th.
price.
I've
No,
got him
thank
2nd.
you.
I'm not a big fan of him. So what is the Sugar Hook story?
Oh,
Tom. So this is
yes,
just,
sorry,
I feel
Tom.
sorry for Tom because he had to spend 3 hours sitting next to me yesterday.
Felt
Yeah.
that's it. I'm taking one for you, Tom. No, I just thought his efforts, at Churchill were pretty good. And this is a race where it feels like there are not many horses that can lay close. And I feel like he's the only one that can.
He's supposed to be in front.
Well, exactly.
No,
and so
I agree with
that's
that.
why, and look, the horse that, granted, he was beaten 10 lengths by Rebel Red, but Rebel Red's pretty nice, came back and won here with a 91
Very
in
good.
his next start. So I just think for overall in his turf races, he's been facing some somewhat better company, and I'll take him on top getting back to it today after being rained off last time. And we both have Vincenta in the mix. This horse has a serious turf
Well, I just think
pedigree.
it's an interesting claim, and Tom has had some success. First time in the turf off the claim. He's 1 for 2 with maidens plus a second. So he got like a $10 horse home, and the other one was second at 4 to 1. He's 2 for 8 doing it overall. So he's done well with this, and I agree. And the thing is, it's not as though Ken McPeak didn't try to get this on the turf.
I
He's
know.
been
I
rained
feel
off
bad for
repeatedly with him, so it's not like Tom noticed something didn't. Now, unfortunately, he's enticed. And
What's that got to do with anything?
Enticed is just not a very good turf sire.
I disagree with you. We have that. I'm
Got
just
low
looking
numbers.
yes, I'm looking. Okay, so the whole reason Tom kind of was attracted to this horse is because he looks exactly like Easy Roll. And I know Easy Roll
Oh,
didn't
okay.
run well the other day, but
No, he's good.
overall, he's a pretty decent
Yeah.
New York bred turf horse. And this guy, I mean, even has more pedigree on the bottom side
Well, the
than him.
Dams had 4 turf winners by a tried, and they're good. They're not
They're
bad
good,
horses, right?
including Quebec, who's a multiple stakes winner on the turf, and he just looks like a turf horse to me. So I
He has to be
definitely
used in here. He has to.
want to
I
use
think
him.
John the Baptist is interesting dropping down. You know, he's another one. Was in that race where it was raining. It was pouring during the McCullough race, and I never missed an opportunity to mention McCullough, of course, named for Paul McCullough, the late great owner of 15 Church. I miss Paul every time I walk by 15 Church, and other times as well. I think he's interesting dropping down a little bit. Didn't run that bad last time. I'm going to bet Il Siciliano here.
Okay.
This horse got some less than stellar trips in some of the races down in Florida.
He just has
And
no he has no speed.
yeah, I know. Javi's going to have to try to find some position with him. And listen, you know, these turf races are funny because a lot of them have been sort of semi-paceless, and it hasn't mattered.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm
Fair.
just going to hope he's going to be, you know, I don't know. David's got him the second choice, 9-2. We'll see if that ends up being where he is. I'm a little dubious
good
of these
numbers.
connections, but I thought he fit in the race, and we'll take him here. Dave is usually right. It's an interesting race. And listen, once again, Kick a Buck might win, but there are plenty of other options
yes.
in this race.
Oh, I even got to give a little bit of shout out to my man Bolt de Plata. Getting back to the turf,
Yep.
I think he's at least looks so much more like a turf horse. So I know he's 0 for 10, but I'll give him another shot.
I don't love that his recent form in the dirt has been sort of mediocre, but I agree.
It's
They've
kind
been
of
trying
going
to get on the turf.
yeah. So
He's my 5th pick.
Yeah.
Race number 5. I looked at race number 5, and like you, Maggie, I thought that among the 6, 9, and 11,
There's nowhere
you
else to go.
probably had the best turf horses. Now, maybe a Shaman Princess will win, but I know that maybe it's just that we've been looking at the other horses so much. But you start with the
what
horse
I
that you have on top, and I have second in our time. She did get in some traffic trouble in her last race. We'll take a look at her race 2 back at Gulfstream when she finished second, but she did have a little bit of traffic in that race, and she's coming out of a race that's just a world better. And I don't think she just got completely sucked along in the Coronation Cup. I thought she ran.
And she was kind of running in spots. You know, I would have loved to have seen, you know, blinkers on or something like that, to be fair. But this was I believe, a private purchase after she ran up here opening weekend.
Yeah, I know. Crazy, right?
Yeah. So I really liked her in the paddock, and I'll admit maybe she went a little bit further than 5.5. It might be a touch sharper, but I do think she's a sprinter.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, she was there. I don't think she lost that race because she wanted more ground. She had a little bit of traffic.
Yep.
And they're just better horses. I mean,
Yeah.
Troy Clean's a really, really good
a little
horse. When you
monster.
get away
So
from
tiny.
that Godolphin 3-year-old filly turf sprinter,
Yep.
the division is extremely
Yeah.
strong. And she's obviously makes it stronger. What about Tiffany Gold at Monmouth, who I put on top? She finished 3rd last time behind. Do you know this? Do you remember the race sort of dichotomy, El Torano? I have a thing for this horse. She's a Christophe horse. Look her up while you're doing it.
Torano.
The horse who beat her last time. The horse who beat her in this
Torino.
race.
Torino.
Torino.
Okay.
Christophe took her to run it at Presque Isle, where she absolutely crushed a field with a big figure and paid $18. And she had run again down at Gulfstream, and then she didn't run well, but I think she came back and ran well, and she ran like 3rd, and she won this. And, you know, you look at the race. The second horse got a 70 buyer. She ran 281 buyers after that. The 4th horse improved 5 points after that. And I'm kind of wondering if Tiffany Gold is a little closer to the 87 than she is the 74, in which case she's the horse to beat. So I took her in this race, but I'm not. I'm splitting hairs a little bit among all of these horses.
Again, and I think I think I just kind of went to the 6 in here more so with connections in a way.
I agree.
But Tiffany Gold could be loose.
But
in
Safi
here.
Joseph is 2 for high 50s now on the turf in Saratoga.
Wow. I did not
So
look
he
that
is
up.
not. But on the other hand, I doubt too many of them looked like in our time.
Right.
And I don't disagree. And Hurricane Debbie's fine for Wesley Ward. She's run fast races.
But she's
I think
just
she draws well on
older
the outside.
and a little bit slower,
Yeah.
you know, relatively speaking.
Yeah, she's had her chances. The other two feel like there's a little more upside. We'll see what happens. We'll be back with the late pick 5 in just a moment.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringWater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. Maggie Wolfendale and Andy Serling. Race number 6. So you don't have, and you're probably smarter than me, I have the 9, Saratoga Snow. Will show the 2-year-old sales work. I didn't think it was that great, but a Vacoma, half to Caldwell Loves Gold.
But they only paid $47,000 for her, and this is after Caldwell Loves Gold. We had that
that's
super
fair. That's fair.
2-year-old year. Excuse me.
That's a good point.
She's
I'm an
all
idiot.
over the track here.
Yeah,
as well.
I agree. I wasn't overly impressed by this work, but I went for the Vacoma because they keep winning. You, on the other hand, have gone in a different direction.
Yes, I have. I went to.
I almost put this horse on top.
went to-
Scythian, I think.
Scythian.
I
Thank
think
you.
Scythian,
Thank
right?
you for saying that.
Scythe would be a Scythian, I think.
3 back on the DRF clock report. So this horse working with T-Craft outworked that horse easily, who T-Craft finished second to Chancellor McPatrick.
So is that why Lee told me T-Craft had no chance that day?
Yes.
By the way, Lee, and I'm going to torment my friend Lee Einslider because he annoyed me a lot yesterday morning. He's the last two pieces of information he's given me was that T-Craft had no shot. He got run down at the wire by Chancellor. He said the whole stretch he was thinking, I can't believe Andy's going to be so mad at me. I said, Lee, I'm happy you're in second. I don't care what he said. But the last piece of information he gave me was that if the track was wet, Arthur's ride was scratching. He really nailed that one. This was after making fun of me because
Love
I
you,
said
Lee.
to him, that's what was I said to him, the
I think he
rain's
owes us
supposed to come in the
sandwiches
middle
now.
of the night, so it won't be a wet track for the day. And he called me up and he said, good weather job, weather forecasting in the morning, when I was already grumpy enough and I wanted to kill him. So I came back to him and said, your prognostications are worse than mine, which is not easy.
To be fair, it's a little bit more turf on the pedigree. I'm not going to lie. But
I agree.
the dam have to read the footnotes if you go back a generation. The 6 and 7 are purely just, kind of workout reports. Wild Mischief, 2 back, worked with Smile and Say Cheese.
Who won yesterday and won quite easily.
Quite easily,
Yep.
and she worked all over him. Now, I think Smile and Say Cheese lacks a little bit of focus when running, as we kind of saw, but obviously there's talent there. But Wild Mischief, and I watched this workout on XBTV, and granted, it was a slow work, don't get me wrong, but that's a little bit of Mike Maker thing. But it was wearing blinkers, but just hard on the bridle throughout that breeze. So I took a little Wild Mischief here.
What about Chad's firster? I'm picking this horse means nothing, by the way. I've never asked him about this horse. I never will. The Boston's finest.
I didn't find him that exciting.
Okay.
I didn't mind the workout at Timonium. Worked 10-1, which is actually very good at Timonium. Was asked a little bit for it. Really efficient stride. Does not look like the biggest filly in the world. All the workout reports just say average. Average could win here because it goes for such a good barn.
What about Roddy's homebred, Lottie Valenti, Twirling Lulu? I mean, the dams, they were okay. It just feels like Roddy, Irad's riding this horse I just feel like Roddy's horses are up and fast, the Bustin' Stones. So I don't know.
Candy's great. I mean, he
Yeah.
strikes at 18% with his first-time starting 2-year-olds. I had a feeling I was going to go in a completely different direction in here.
I don't have. I'm just guessing
Because
away here, believe
so
me.
am I, and I was just kind of more so going with watching workouts. You got to have hope. Outbroke an unraced horse with Ricardo up, and actually outbroke her by like 3. I actually think it was a colt that she outbroke. And Ricardo actually had to kind of wait for that horse to rush up and then finish, just completely on the bridle. So you got to have hope. Again, another one with a little bit more turf pedigree on the bottom, but is a twirling candy.
I mean, I love Horacio, but his numbers with 2-year-old first-time stars. his
Yeah,
horse
no,
runs are
that
atrocious.
probably needs one.
He's like
He
1 for
usually
40 something. It's just, I'm sure at that point
develops.
it becomes by design, especially
Yeah.
when you are as good a trainer as Horacio is. Race
Exactly.
number 7, more first-time stars. He's going mile and 16th on the inner turf.
And
listed
here
as
we're pretty much
good.
the same.
And we both took Chad Brown. He's pretty good with these races. I know nothing about this horse either. The odd thing is that this horse kind of feels like it's kind of a dirty pedigree, and he's dirt-type pedigree, and he's running on the turf, which is often a good sign for Chad Brown. Do you know anything about this horse?
I watched the workout back on the turf. She looks, first of all, huge. Secondly, I mean, just cruised around there. She, and according to the clock reports, outworked Virgin Colada, first time out winner for
won 2
Chad,
weeks ago.
and on the turf as well. So, yes, it's a monster dirt pedigree, but I think it's poignant that he points her here to the turf.
All right. Well, we've got that one on top. I have the one. Oh, we're the same page. I
Yeah.
just threw in my friend Seth Morris's horse in here. I like the 10 and 5th workout, the 2-year-old sale. It's a
I liked
Judmont
it.
family, and there's
Yep.
plenty of turf in there.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Watching the workout back on the turf, started off 3 lengths off of a, what was that? Oh, unraced mate. Flavian was aboard. And I thought it was interesting that Flavian, goes to this firster for John Terranova because he rides some, but, if there's a
Not-
Chad Brown in the race.
Right.
So, and this horse really went on and galloped out incredibly well too. So really like both the sales workout and the workouts leading into this for Pediatric Princess. Should be right there on the rail. And then you have the horse who has experience for Brendan Walsh and Love Tempo, but I don't
Take a look at
know.
it.
I mean, how did you kind of?
I didn't like the effort. The horse did break a
Just
little
kinda
bit
sucked
slowly.
up
Yeah,
into
it
that
looks on
race.
paper like the horse was making a big run, and I agree. That's
Yeah.
why I showed it. The horse didn't really make a big run. The one thing I'll say is, in our experience with these Ellis Park 2-year-old turf routes, they're going very early in their careers, and for the most part, these races get figures that end up being way low as the horses progress, going 2 and 3 starts forward. So a 50 could easily be a 70 to me, or a
Sure.
65. Not saying the figure's wrong. It just seems like more often than not, we see horses improve out of those races a lot. And Brendan thinks enough to bring the horse here. So to me, that's a good enough sign.
Yeah, no, you definitely have to use her in here. I will say number 5, Chantico, for Shug McGahee, not much pedigree to lean into, though
dirt.
it's more dirt. The dam 3/4 to Bandbox, who's a multiple stakes winning kind of middle distance runner in Maryland. But by all reports, this horse has been working really well on the turf.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens. Shug McGahee with
Actually,
Chantico.
Worked better than Pay the Juice, who was 3rd in that New York bred. It was a New York bred turf sprint,
All
to
right.
be fair.
We'll see what happens in race number 7. Race number 8. I was kind of between a couple horses,
I
and one of them
know.
was the horse that you have on top, and one was the one I put on top, which
I
works
struggled
well
with
for
this
me.
race.
I did too. I ended up taking.
It's a good race. I just don't know. My problem is that I'm not exactly sure how it plays out.
I think
And
I think
who's-
Ricardo's supposed to go with Chad a lot. That's why I
Exactly.
picked him on top.
But
I just
then-
thought go. Send him as hard as you can, get the lead, and try to wire the field. That's why I picked him, honestly.
I thought about picking him, and then I ended up with him 4th because I'm like, well,
I don't
Kate
totally trust him.
Trafalgar is only really effective when he goes. He's not as fast as Cadillac, but I didn't know how to
I
read
thought
this
he was
race. I
faster than him. As we
struggled.
take a look at
He
Kate
is
Trafalgar,
faster.
who you have 3rd, I have 3rd in here, and he comes off that big figure. I don't know, man. Like the 2nd place finisher, 80 buyer, 77 buyer, 96 buyer in this race, then 86 and 91. I look at that figure, I look at this horse, and I don't think he's a horse that I can rely on to run a high 90s buyer. Now, even if he runs a 90 buyer, he may still win this race. But even implementation, the other horse of Safi Joseph, he's got a little more consistency before he ran lousy after breaking a little slow last time. It seems like Safi's dirt horses have been running, the ones he's been running. I won't be surprised if either one wins. I didn't love either one. You've got him 2nd and 3rd.
I don't love him.
No.
I'll be
no,
honest.
you feel the same way I do. I can see they can win, and we didn't want to put them on top.
Right. I will say that, last time he kind of was chasing outside and it was off a little bit of a layoff. He kind of ran like he needed that race. And I thought, maybe that race dominated more for horses. And he was off of it too. That race kind of collapsing. There were 2 horses to run back on the dirt that came back and won. with 95 and 85 buyers, respectively. Again, I just didn't have a strong feeling about this race. Now, Bilal, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, one thing I thought was funny about Bilal last time, he was dead on the board.
He was.
I thought he was going to take a ton of money last time. They bet that race like they knew the domestic product could not possibly lose.
I do think that Bilal is a sprinter, and maybe that's why they shied away from him a
Miles
bit.
too far, yeah.
Right. And last time, I mean, two back, nobody really made up that much ground.
But he ran well in that race.
In that track.
And Subrogate has shown that figure to be legit. Now, Looms Boldly was running again, I think, on Wednesday. We don't know if he's legitimate in there, but I agree. I was going to put him on top as well. I'm glad I didn't because you put him on top just to have different picks. But I agree. I'm going to use 6s and 8s here mostly.
There was a part of me that thought maybe Clear the Air was interesting, getting back to the dirt.
You know what's crazy about him getting back to the dirt? They scratched him in an off-the-turf race back at Aqueduct.
They did,
and
didn't
I remember
they?
thinking, like, why the heck would they scratch this horse out of this race?
Maybe
a huge player.
shipping something.
And I think he was. I don't think he. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it was a shipping issue. I don't really know. But I agree. He's got one very big dirt race.
Very big, but I think against lesser.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll show the replay because I have it up there of Top Gunner and Celestial Glaze. And I know they ran well up here. I feel like this is just a better field. But to be fair, this figure was legitimate.
They did. I thought, Celestial Gaze, he wasn't kind of quick enough early, sat mid-pack, and then he wasn't really clear until mid-stretch here. When you see him kind of coming through there, he's the 4-horse. Top Gunner, he probably had kind of the run of the race, if you will.
Yep.
The most ideal trip and just only nabbed. I got no money in the end. If anything, I thought Celestial Gaze was the one I kind of wanted a little bit more.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Trouble,
I wondered if this
price.
Race was just a little bit better, and Rudy claiming away from Jose D'Angelo. So we'll see. Race number 8. We were joking beforehand. We were talking about White Sands. How we both kind of figured that Wesley. He had the look of a Wesley, not really ever planning on running in here, and he's not running in here. But the Queen's MG is, and we're going to try to beat her. But I don't have a lot of confidence trying to beat her. I mean, she destroyed this field last time. And she was on the pace, and the pace completely fell apart in the late stages. I mean, she runs back to this race. They better have their running shoes on, in my opinion.
I still think, what happened in the Astoria? What happened? Was it just nobody was able to make up any ground, I guess?
No, she went completely backward. She was awful. So you worry it'll happen again?
Don't you? I mean, I do a little bit.
I don't know. Well, it's a reasonable question. I just don't have an answer to it. I mean, I know based on her last race, the thing is, I feel like our horse Italian Soiree, as we show her race,
I think she's nice.
I feel like she has upside. I know it didn't get that much of a fig, but she kind of blew the break. And then she just really sort of settled in very, very comfortably after not getting off that well and really ran impressively. Now, maybe she wasn't beating much, and it's always a possibility, but I feel like she's a horse that's better than that figure suggests.
Reportedly outworking an older winner in Hagrid's Flame. So, yeah, I really liked her in the paddock that day. I know we both really liked her. So I'm going to take her. Like you said, there's upside with her. And especially, I was really interested in White Sands. And she's not going to play today. So I'm going to go with the horse that I kind of know. To take the step up here, and Flavian sticks aboard.
What's going to happen with What the Literal? And I think it's interesting, What in the Literal, that Javier Castellano is riding Agua de Crystal. Now, maybe he had a commitment to ride this horse before. He rides so frequently for Jenna, but maybe he committed to ride the other horse, and he rides for these connections as well. The truth is, was very much with the flow of the track when winning the Astoria. But she still ran fairly well, and we don't know what happened last time out. What happened, but she was 25-1 last time. So I just wonder how good the Astoria really was.
Well, yeah, that's the main thing. And then you have some new shooters coming in here from Kentucky, from Churchill, in Anna Karina and Atomic City. Anna Karina, sister to Hoist the Gold. So there's some pedigree for this horse to take another step forward. I know Reliable Source came back and won, albeit with a lower figure.
Right.
But the 4th place finisher came back and won with a 73 in her subsequent start.
I'm not going to be shocked if it's very hard with horses 2-year-olds off their maiden races. I think Atomic City becomes very dangerous with the scratches because it
To
takes a
wire.
lot of speed out of the race. And while the 9 should be on her tail and she's good, and maybe you'll just run her into the ground. I mean, Atomic City. I just respect Eddie Keneally every time he comes here. He doesn't come here that
Absolutely.
often anymore.
Yeah.
He's a very very good trainer, and I don't want to be dismissive. I looked him up. Second-time starters off of maiden wins and dirt sprints. He's 3 for 8 with
He's good.
2-year-olds, and I think he's 1 for 4 with 2-year-olds and 3 for 8 overall. So they do come back and run well after maiden wins first time out, and I'm scared of that horse in the front end a little bit.
I could not agree with you more. I just do not like the field that she comes out
I
of.
agree. She did not beat much worse. I totally agree with that. All right, that's race 9, the Adirondack, and race number 10 closed it out. I thought it was a very, very, very tough race in here.
It is.
And
it's
I was
kind of
gonna,
a fun race for a 30 claimer.
I agree. And,
Yeah.
one strong opinion I have is, and you've got the horse fourth, Nostalgic One is going to take money. It's Irad, it's Todd Pletcher, and we'll show the last win. Man, this horse is a plotter that needs a ton of pace to run at. I'm sorry. Sorry, guys, that's my fault. I realize now it's the second replay. Thank you for that. I just don't like the race this horse is coming out of, and
I
I'm
should have flip-flopped.
going to let him beat me.
I have him fourth and the 9. I was kind of between them. I probably should have gone 5, 8, 1, 9 in here overall, but I agree. I don't think he's that good at all.
I'm not a
and now
fan
he's
of this
going to
guy.
have to do it from the outside. But at the end of the day, collectively, I think, excuse me, his numbers are decent enough where there's every likelihood that he'll show up and at least get a piece of this.
I wonder.
But I don't blame you for taking a stand.
Yeah, he's going to beat me. I wonder if Officer Derek's going to get an aggressive ride from Kendrick this time and win. Last time a fast
was
pace in
checked
there.
back
Yeah,
really
I bet
badly.
him last time. First time for Horacio. I thought it was an interesting switch to Horacio, and I don't think I was that wrong taking a big price on
No,
him.
he
And I
just-
don't think he's impossible to win today. I put him third, but I'm going to use him. I probably should have put him second.
No, I agree with you. He should be forward today. That's the thing. I went with number 5 in here, Skellig Island. He was so wide last time, and the
Was he
entire
really? I mean, I had him 2 and 3 wide in the turns before he angled out in the stretch.
yeah,
I didn't have him
but he
that
was
wide.
But the horses that finished, 1, 2, 3, they were all on the rail.
Okay.
And Skellig Island, and he had a similar trip, except he was further back than Jay Hirsch. And Jay Hirsch came back in a tougher spot than this and finished third 2 days ago.
How I didn't have that try when
Yeah.
the only 2 horses ran 1, 2, including the favorite was Way the Horse to Beat. It was one
Right.
of my stupidest moves in the meet.
So I think, he might look a little better than that last race is. And I thought, first off, the layoff, he definitely needed that race. The race up here in June could make him a player.
Okay.
And had an excuse last time. So I took him on
I'm
top.
Not, I'm not knocking anybody
Gets
in here.
Flavian Proud aboard.
There'll be a
going-
price. I
going
can't
long
knock it,
on Flavian
We'll
today.
show Barry Funny's race last time. I thought Barry Funny actually ran
Ran
well in
really
this race.
well.
You've got him second. He really did improve going longer on the turf. And he was the one who was closest to pace that was able to be around right at the end because this race was completely falling apart at the end.
Exactly. That's exactly why I have him there. Because he attended that pace and he actually went really wide into the first turn as well. He got a little bit ranked too, and to expend, that much energy in the first quarter of a mile and to still be there, to only be beaten a length and a quarter, I thought this was a very good effort. And Mike Maker, I know he runs a lot of horses up here, but
12 wins, I think, at the
Yeah.
meet. He's second to Chad Brown.
Yeah.
He's having a great meet. Now, we've seen Mike do well and then start to taper off.
right.
We'll see, though. I
Can
got
he
a
keep
lift
it going?
over part way from Kirk Wyckoff on the golf cart. Does that mean
any
anything?
tips?
Does that?
Oh, is that?
Tips?
But this is Jordan.
This one's
Doesn't
Jordan.
count.
Well, Jordan harassed me. He called me earlier. He called me earlier and started giving me a hard time.
Typical.
I know.
Yeah.
It's a good thing I like him a lot. He is a very good guy. I like
What
him a
about
lot.
Joe Sharp's horse off of the
That's
horses, and that's who you went to?
mile and a half. It's not
I
a
know.
mile and a half horse. I think it's a very, very interesting horse. This horse was bought at the auction for $30,000. They come right back and put him in logically. I thought this horse is raced 2 back. I don't know, if he's going to run an 81 buyer, but I thought this horse was pretty dangerous getting to Joe here, and maybe
Yeah.
it's too logical down the inside, but I picked him. I'm going to use see. This is a dilemma for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think St. Joe Louis can be second. I don't think he can win, but I put him second. And the thing is, I don't want to use him to win, so I probably should have gone 1-3-7 because St. Joe Louis is going to win a race, and I'm not going to win. But I ended up putting him where I did,
I'm
even though he
not
likes
mad
to run
against
second.
him.
Well, he just doesn't
Yeah,
win.
right.
But he's as good as anybody in this race, but he
Right.
doesn't win. And he
Right.
also got a dream trip. But Mauritius, who beat him, would be a big favorite in this field and would win probably. So,
Yeah, with the
but
speed
he also got a
advantage.
great trip in there.
Yeah.
I'm sort of 1s and 3s and a little 8 as my top horses in this race. And I'll
Any
throw the
look at
5
the
in your
9?
say-so. Any look?
I
Oh,
know
I
he
looked at him.
only won a maiden 35 at Gulfstream in late May, which isn't great.
Riverwalk's not bad, the horse he ran with last time. I don't
Modica.
know, I didn't like the field he was in with last time, but he is a new gelding.
there's-
What is your thing with
Well,
him?
there's 3 next time out winners coming out of that field, and my thing is, I
Yeah,
love a
did
new
they? But
gelding.
one of them won on the synth. I think the
Yeah.
third horse won on the synth.
Yeah, with the best figure.
Right, and I
Um,
think the second horse improved 3 points. To be
Okay.
fair,
Yeah.
Nah, I'm not. I don't have a big opinion. I just thought he was a little light even doing that. But listen, I'm not going to take a big stand against anybody in this race because there's nobody that stands out in this field.
No, it's a fun betting race, and I think would hope that the board would be fair.
Yeah, I probably should have gone 3-1 because the 3's much bigger price. We'll see what happens, but I picked them last time at a huge price.
Fun.
Anyway, Mag, fun as always.
Yep.
Enjoy your day.
Thank
You're
you.
on later
Yep.
today. I am on early. I think it was the shift of last week where I was on late and you were on early.
Yes.
Frank Miramati, of course, getting ready with the reprise scratch and changes. You are getting ready to go to Naira Bets. Head on over, use the promo code SPA250, and we'll match the $250 of your initial deposit. Check out track stats when you're over at Naira Bets as well. We also have a $10 money back giveaway. First race here in Del Mar. If you bet $10 to win, your horse comes in exactly second or third, you'll get your $10 back. We also have Cross Country Big Five as well. That is Monmouth in here, 1 from Monmouth, 4 from here. FS2 from 1 to 6:30. Once again, thanks again, Maggie. Thank you for watching. Frank Miramati, he's up next. Reprise, scratch and changes. Have a great day. Day number 19 here in Saratoga.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you please rise and remove your hats for our national anthem. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Saratoga Racecourse. The track is fast. The turf is rated as good. Here are the changes. In the first race, start of the early pick 5, scratch number 5, Ragtime. The second is the 14th running of the Birdstone. No show, trifecta, or superfecta wagering. The early pick 4 begins with race 2, scratch number 3, Nimitz Class. In the third, scratch 4, Higher Quality, and scratch number 5, Pit Boss. In the fourth race, 1, Mano a Mano, is a Ridgeling. Scratch the also eligible, scratch 13, 14, 15, and 16. The pick 6 starts with the fifth race. Scratch 1, First Class Cat, scratch 1A, She's Always Rosie. Scratch 5, Golden Dagger, and scratch number 12, Oh My Mia. In the sixth, we kick off the late pick 5 with no program changes. Race 7, scratch the also eligibles, 11, 12, 13, and 14. No changes in the eighth. The ninth is the Grade 3 Adirondack. Scratch number 5, Social Fortress, and scratch number 8, White Sands, 5 and 8, out of the Adirondack. And in the 10th, scratch number 2, Frizzante, scratch 11, Mr. Mendelssohn, and then scratch the also eligibles 13, 14, 15, and 16. Enjoy your afternoon here at Saratoga Racecourse. They'll be at the gate for race 1 in 26 minutes.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.
The New York Racing Association welcomes you to Saratoga Racecourse. Your safety is our primary concern. If it becomes necessary to evacuate Saratoga Racecourse, please follow these guidelines to walk calmly out and away from the 1863 Club, the apron, the main building, and the backyard. Those in the 1863 Club basement area will go up the center staircase or the loading dock area staircase. Patrons and employees on the first floor use the loading dock stairs or exit out the main lobby exits or out the front doors. Turn right toward the loading dock area or turn left to the horse path and proceed out onto the track. Those on the second floor will walk down the main staircase and out of the building, or use the pedestrian bridge over to the main building. Those on the third floor will go down the center staircase or the west end staircase down to the loading dock area and continue out and away from the building. If you're located trackside on the clubhouse apron, on the dining porch, or the grandstand apron, walk forward onto the track through the emergency exit trackside gates. Turn right or left and continue along the outside rail to the exits. As you're exiting, please be mindful of any horses that may be in the area. Those in the interior clubhouse and grandstand areas will exit out into the park areas in the rear of the building and continue out through gates A and B for the grandstand and gates C and D for the clubhouse area. Those located in the second floor clubhouse box seat areas, left or right of the winner's circle, will walk down the nearest unobstructed staircase to the apron area and proceed out the trackside gates onto the track. Turn right and continue along the outside rail to gate 10. Those in the club terrace dining and standing areas will utilize the metal staircases at the rear of the building down to the ground level and continue out gate C. Once in a stairwell, should you encounter smoke or other obstructions, leave the stairwell immediately and proceed to another stairwell. Those in the first and second level turf terrace dining areas west half will proceed down the west end fire escape to the ground level and continue out gate D. Those in first and second level turf terrace dining east half will take the east end staircase onto the clubhouse roof, then continue down to the ground level and out gate C. Third and fourth level turf terrace dining west half will utilize the rear or west staircase down to the ground level and proceed out gate D. Those in third and fourth level turf terrace dining east half will utilize the east end staircase or ramp down to the clubhouse roof, then continue down to the ground level and out gates C and D. If you are in the second floor club seating, sections D through L, or the grandstand seating, sections M through Y, including the stretch seating area, proceed down the staircases to the trackside apron and proceed out onto the track. Turn left or right and continue along the outside rail to exit. Those in the second floor easy-goer dining area will go down the staircases at the rear of the building to exit through the park and out gate B. Those in the paddock area and paddock tent will walk through the paddock and out the saddling area emergency gate. Please be mindful of any horses that may be in close proximity. Those in the other rear park areas will proceed out the nearest unobstructed gate. All egress aisleways and emergency exits must be kept clear of personal articles and items. Once outside, please continue away from the gates and await further instructions from public safety personnel. Elevators and escalators will not be in use during an emergency evacuation. Guest services and security personnel will be available to guide and assist ADA guests and anyone who may require additional assistance. This concludes our evacuation plan for Saratoga Racecourse. Thank you for being prepared in advance to respond calmly in an emergency. Enjoy today's events.